Child abuse and neglect is a serious issue in early care and education. As a child development professional, you have the responsibility to know the signs and to take action. This video will help you know what to look for. What is child abuse? At its most basic form, child abuse is a recent act or failure to act which results in death, serious physical or emotional harm, sexual abuse, or exploitation. It is important to note that child abuse is not always physical action. Sometimes harm comes to a child because adults fail to stop a dangerous situation. It is also considered child abuse if the child is at risk of harm. If you hear an adult say, "I'll give you something to cry about," and then that adult shoves the child out of the room, you can assume that child is in imminent risk, and you should take action. There are several different kinds of child abuse. It is important to know, though, that a child can experience more than one kind of abuse. A child who is physically abused can be emotionally abused as well. It's important to know about the different kinds of abuse and neglect. Unfortunately, child abuse does occur in school and child care settings. Working with young children can be stressful, and sometimes even the best teachers have a bad day. This is never an excuse to harm a child, though. It is important to take care of yourself mentally and physically so that you are capable of caring for children. The most important thing teachers and caregivers can do is to understand child development and positive guidance techniques. You might suspect child abuse in your program if a child or children seem scared of a particular staff member. A staff member spends long periods of time out of sight with a child. A staff member talks negatively about a child. A child cries and does not want to come into the classroom. A family member reports that a child has extreme negative reactions when the program is mentioned. A staff member gives a child lots of special attention or holds the child unnecessarily. A staff member takes unscheduled breaks and leaves children unsupervised. It can be hard to think about yourself or your coworkers abusing children. It is important to know the signs of potential abuse. Any one of these behaviors by itself doesn't necessarily mean that a teacher is abusive. If you see a pattern of behavior or a single behavior that causes concern, it is important that you make a report. Here are behaviors that might be a red flag in your program. Yelling or screaming at children, grabbing a child by the arm or jerking them, forcing a child to be quiet, insisting on obedience or respect at all times, engaging in power struggles and being happy about winning, standing apart from children, watching rather than interacting, taking an unusual or excessive interest in a child, not allowing children to make choices, not respecting a child's wish for privacy, or touching a child that does not wish to be touched. You have an important role in preventing child abuse and neglect. First, learn the signs. Talk to coworkers and friends about symptoms of abuse and neglect. Know your community and the stressors that might put children at risk for abuse or neglect. Prevent abuse at home and in the community. Make sure all employee background checks are complete and up to date. Design your child development program for visibility. Provide parenting classes and resources for families about positive parenting and guidance techniques. You must report your suspicions of abuse and neglect, know who to call, and how to prepare for the call. Finally, consider yourself a resource to families and those around you. You can empower people to get the help that they need.